Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 30th of March. It is a Saturday, so we do have some split up slates. The day slate is a 9-gamer, so we're going to focus on that. And again, I am going to look at DK since that's where a majority of my play happens. Most of the guys I do talk about here, especially at the top, will come into play on FanDuel as well. Uh, Generally, my pitch pool is a lot smaller on FanDuel because I just don't think there's as many viable options to get us that quality start bonus as well. NKs reign supreme even more on FanDuel. So let's dig in here. First guy in my view for this slate here, it's going to be Aaron Nola. Difficult matchup, but we see that he did make 4 starts last year during the regular season against Atlanta. 29 Ks, 23 and 2/3. Big time home road splits. He is at home. That's intriguing. He's going to be pretty low owned. So that's what has me interested in him. He's not going to be somebody I'm going to be too heavy on, but I do want to get some leverage on the field. I will play some Atlanta bats, of course, but Nola has shown the ability to get it done against the elite offense that is the Atlanta Braves. So I'm going to want to be on him. Tanner Bybee is going to be fine against Oakland. No complaints there. Next guy I'm going to kind of look at here, Hunter Green at 8,500. I have a feeling he's going to be somewhat chalky in this matchup. Always a worry. He does give up home runs, some walks, that sort of thing. But he has just tremendous upside for me. And this Washington offense isn't all that dangerous. The one thing I have to dig in to see how they've been striking out. Last year they didn't strike out all that much. For a surprisingly weak team, they didn't strike out that much. So, but I just have to love the upside out of Hunter Green. So I am going to be on him here. We are looking at minus 175 favorite in Cincinnati right now, which I believe is going to be one of the highest on this particular slate. As I scroll through real quick, it is actually the highest. So that's going to tell you he's probably going to carry quite a bit of ownership on this slate. I also will be using Joe Ryan. I kind of skipped over him. Minus 125 road favorite. It's finally a favorite here. 2 starts against Kansas City last year. Elite numbers. Not great on the road. That's a worry. But he did start out the beginning of last year rolling pretty well. So I'm just going to kind of bank on him being one of those guys in his young days. He starts out season strong and kind of fades as the season goes on and the innings rack up. Somebody that I'm considering on the fade here is Kenta Maeda. Just at his price point, I feel like I don't know what we're going to get out of him. He was decent against the White Sox last year. I get the White Sox are not a very strong team. Maeda is a minus 135 favorite. But I have a feeling people are going to just blindly go to him thinking the White Sox are bad. I mean, they are bad, but just blindly going there. And I don't know if he's going to be able to match the upside that we can get out of a Hunter Green, out of a Grayson Rodriguez for less. We might be able to get similar production out of a guy like Luis Severino on the slate, who had a great spring for the Mets. And I don't think the overall Brewers lineup is all that strong. They did pick up the W yesterday, but it was a pitcher's duel. They did struggle a bit with Quintana. So, I think we can get the same amount of points out of Severino as people would get out of Maeda. So I'm really considering the fade early on. But again, just to remind you, this is the first look at pitching for the day. I haven't really dug in too deeply onto these guys, so things can obviously change, and they will be updated in my notes on the site. Um, so like I mentioned, Grayson Rodriguez, we saw the Angels strike out a ton against Corbin Burns to begin the season. His numbers last year against the Angels, not good. I won't hide it. His home numbers, not all that great either. But we kind of expect him to take another leap forward. He is a minus 165 favorite right now, which is the second highest on this slate. So uh, we kind of have to just go with the winners here early, until we kind of see how guys are stepping up. Another guy I'm interested in, probably never heard of, Jared Jones. Strong pitching prospect, made the squad, getting the game three start. Miami offense doesn't really scare me all that much. I know everybody seemed to be on AJ Puck yesterday. I was pretty light on him. That was more of an AJ Puck thing than a matchup thing in that game, but we can probably expect decent ownership on some pitchers in this game. Uh, he's definitely much better than Martin Perez yesterday. Not quite as good as Mitch Keller, who was so on opening day. So uh, I'm going to give Jared Jones a run here in his major league debut. Um, I will have to dig in to see if they're, going to allow him to be a regular starter or if they're going to try to contain his innings a little bit and maybe only have him go 3 to 4. That's something we will dig into. We'll probably know closer to game time. Um, One other name that kind of intrigues me a little bit, especially because the Toronto offense did very little for us on Friday, which was a little annoying. Zach Littell didn't fare overly well against Toronto last year, but he's a guy that just has had some success. Um, One of his starts against, well, actually, just one start, but I'm not sure if he started this game here. Um, he did have some success in one of the appearances, so um, I guess Littell is somebody that probably should go almost unowned, but we've seen him showcase upside surprisingly. He had a stretch here where he had 20 plus in 3 of 4 starts. And Tampa Bay seems to churn out guys like this on a yearly basis. Uh, Probably not really a full season fantasy league type of play that you're going to want to roster the entire year. But I think there are going to be spots that make sense. And this one kind of does for me a little bit here. Um, I would rather use him than DL Hall, for example. I know the Mets lineup isn't as dangerous as we thought it would be or could be, but DL Hall walks a ton of guys, had some issues in spring. He's going to be super volatile, so I'm just not going to rely on playing him. I know people are going to try to jam him in at 4,600. It's just not for me. He is a slight underdog in that game against Severino, but um, going back to Littell, he's actually a minus 125 favorite over Kikuchi. So that's kind of my first look. Not a lot to take a big stance and fade on this slate. It's kind of an ugly pitching slate, I guess. Um, I think I'm going to probably fade Max Fried, which whatever against Philadelphia. He's somebody that could definitely get it done. He did was wasn't the greatest against Philadelphia last year, but he was elite on the road. Those things kind of stand out to me, but we do have to make some decisions. So right now it's probably looking like Fried and Maeda might find their way into my fade list out of these pitching options. But I think this is a slate that could be won by offense a little more, and I don't usually say that, especially if you're a DFS Army member. You hear me talk about pitching first, um, which is kind of why I'm doing this video. But I think getting our offense right on this slate is going to be super important just because of the pitching options we do have. So there we have it. There's that first look at pitching for today. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on to get the alerts anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, cheat sheets, etc., there will be links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, it's RAZ, for 10% off. And as always, best of luck, everybody.